Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So 2022 and 2023 were the best 2 years of boxing ever. We had never got that many big fights back to back to back. We've seen so many 50-50 fights. We've seen so many fights that we have been waiting to see for years all take place within those last 2 years. And I was wondering, how long would it last? When will it end? Well, now it looks like it ended the end of last year, and we're headed into a boxing recession. Now, the recession doesn't mean we're not going to get any significant fights. It just means it's going to be few far in between, which is what we were used to before we had the two biggest years of boxing. We're used to not getting the fights that we want to see and being forced to watch a whole bunch of mismatches, or fights that are just perceived as completely irrelevant for boxing fans. Now, this is not to suggest that we won't be surprised the end of this year and get a couple big fights that we didn't expect to see. But if we just look at first impressions when it comes to this year, and we look at some of the fights that are already coming to fruition, it's just not a good sign. I mean, you got Lomachenko, who could have fought Shakur Stevenson, and instead he's fighting George Kambosos. You got Gervonta Tank Davis, who could be fighting against Shakur Stevenson, Vasyl Lomachenko. He could even be fighting Devin Haney. But we know he's not going to be fighting any of those guys next. Hopefully he ends up fighting one of those guys by the end of this year. Then we thought we were going to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, which would have been a big fight. It would have been the biggest fight on DAZN for sure. This was a fight that DAZN desperately needed and they wanted, and Ryan Garcia still pulled out of that fight. He wanted to fight Rolly Romero. Now we get news that Ryan Garcia won't be fighting against Rolly Romero. According to Oscar De La Hoya, Rolly Romero priced himself out. And Oscar is now saying that Ryan Garcia is going to fight Jose Ramirez. But Ryan Garcia just came out and he said that's not going to happen. But he's also now saying that the Devin Haney fight is going to happen next either. And the thing is, Ryan Garcia was saying the main reason why he wanted to fight Rolly Romero is because he wanted to go out and get a belt to make the Devin Haney fight bigger, despite the fact DAZN, they wanted Ryan Garcia to fight Devin Haney now, because this is obviously one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight that could be made on DAZN right now. So if Ryan wanted to get a belt before he fought Devin Haney to make the fight bigger, then the only other fight that would make sense would be the Subriel Matias fight, because he's a champion at 140. So because Ryan Garcia made that excuse for why he says he wanted to fight Rolly Romero in the first place, it's going to be really hard for Ryan to justify fighting anyone else outside of Devin Haney or Subriel Matias. It's just real crazy when you think about it, because according to reports, you have Rolly Romero, who turned down a Ryan Garcia fight. You have Teofimo Lopez, who turned down a Ryan Garcia fight. But then Ryan Garcia, he turns down the Devin Haney fight. And Teo is still not showing any interest in fighting Devin Haney. And then you have Canelo Alvarez, who's being pressured to fight David Benavidez. He still hasn't avenged his loss to Bivol, and yet we know he's not fighting either one of those guys next. It's really ironic when you think about it, because Canelo Alvarez is in a similar situation that Floyd Mayweather was in. And when I say similar situation, I'm really only talking about the age dynamic. The fact that right now, Canelo Alvarez, he has this young, hungry, strong lion who's been calling him out for years, and his name is David Benavidez. This is pretty much the same situation Floyd Mayweather was in when the young, strong, hungry lion Canelo Alvarez was calling him out. And we see how Floyd Mayweather responded, and we seen what Floyd Mayweather did to Canelo. How come Canelo Alvarez is not willing to do the same thing that Floyd Mayweather did? Or even the same thing that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence were willing to do? Now, once again, it's very possible that Canelo can end up being pressured to fight David Benavidez by the end of this year. But the fight is already long overdue, and it should be happening in May, when Canelo is most likely going to return. And this is how the first half of the year is looking so far. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have some good fights that are scheduled, but it's just not enough consistency, because we do have fights like Bivol versus Beterbiev. We have Tyson Fury versus Usyk, 2 fights for undisputed. And even with that fight, it could be said that both Tyson Fury and Usyk lost their very last fight. Tyson Fury definitely lost to Ngannou, and it could be said that Usyk actually got knocked out with a body shot in his last fight. So far, there's not too many big fights to look forward to when it comes to 2024. Hopefully that changes towards the end of the year. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, Visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.